was only last Tuesday. It was early in the morning. We got up, we got all excited. We're going to the airport. We're going to go back home to Greece, where I'm from. And it was also exciting. And then we arrived at the airport after being tired and parking the car and getting the bus and all this stuff that we have to do to get to that point. It was around 4 o'clock. And we go to the guy to check in our bags, and he's checking out our passports. And then as we're about to go, he's like, no, hold on a minute. He said, this passport, my son's passport, doesn't have enough time for you to be able to fly to Europe and from the UK. And I was just like, oh no. Welcome everybody to another episode from Inside Treasures. My name is Phoebus, and I love to challenge myself and those around me for the purpose of growth. I'm here to help you to heal, to change, and to grow. Today's episode is all about resilience. And he was like, just hang out there and then, think about what it is that you want to do. And of course, that was a little bit off-putting, really off-putting. And it was like different emotions coming up and different things going on inside of us and within a family dynamic. And it was really interesting to notice because we were sleepless. We didn't expect it. There's a caveat there. And then it really just happened, and it was like, whoa, what do we do now? Should we two of us fly and two of us not fly? Should we all stay? Should we jump the gate and get there? I was excited about the last one, by the way. I was like, okay, let's just wait. And of course, for me, there was so much emotion within me that I was just like, there's so much going on. I don't know how to process this. I can kind of tell what I need to do, but I'm also feeling the sense to present myself with what it is that I'm feeling. But we also at an airport, and we also got to act, and we also got to move, and we also have to make choices. And that was challenging. And that is the reason it's not the greatest challenge of all that I've had in my life, but it is one of those things that just come up in my life. And it's recent, and it's something present, and it's how I get to navigate through that, but what you can get through my story, what you can get through that, and how you can apply resilience in your life in a way that it can help you to move forward. Resiliency for me is all about finding a way to move forward, finding ways and understandings of what has happened, of what is going on in the present moment. The more that we can be in that space and actually navigate through that space, for my book, it's a lot better, but it's not always possible. So sometimes it's just the time has passed and it's let's work through this. But it's also taking the steps forward. It's something happened and something else needs to happen now. And it's not about so much waiting for things to be or let's pretend that everything is positive and everything is fine. And you get to hear a lot about that these days, about toxic positivity and all these things that come up. It's not so much about that. Resiliency for me is having the ability to bounce back, having the ability to stand on your feet, having the ability to meet the adversities of life in a way that help you to grow, in a way that help you to heal. It's about moving forward and staying present, not being stuck in the past. And that's why I find resilience so important, because it is life. Things happen. Things have happened in our past. And if we stay fixed in that space, no matter what it is, no matter whom it was with, and there's certain circumstances that we have that with certain people that actually have greater magnitude. And that is more what I'm actually targeting for. My story has been kind of light and playful. It's not about the deeper stuff, but it does happen every single day. You meet with certain adversity, and it's how you manage to navigate through that. And also having that willingness, that ability, building it and cultivating it, but also having that attitude that no matter what happens and comes your way, you have that ability to recenter yourself and then move forward through that space of centeredness, versus allowing the other different things and different strings to pull you in different directions and throw you on the rocks, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm all scarred and all these things are terrible. Having that ability to, that might happen. That is part of life. First of all, accepting that, admitting that, and just being okay with that. Because a lot of times we're like, no, everything needs to be rosy and everything needs to be perfect. And our brain kind of leans in towards that. And because we do that, it also makes us avoid challenging ourselves, avoid putting ourselves in situations that perhaps they might not go the way that we planned. And the more we pull from risk, the more we take flavor away from life. And it's not about being crazy and jumping off airplanes. I'm talking about day-to-day life, about the way you get to live your life. So after we got back home, we were all confused and we were all very, very tired. And at the same time, we're like, we gotta do something, we gotta get away, we gotta use this time we got off with the kids because they're on holiday and we've taken a holiday off. And what should we do? Somehow I spent a lot of time trying to find a place. And I was like, it'd be really nice if we got to mountain bike, It's just like we got the bikes, we got the space. Like now it's the time for us to really enjoy it. And like if we go away, let's have that as an element of our getaway. And yeah, everyone was excited. So I was like, pack the bikes and all this stuff that we gotta do. And we got there. And after a day or so, we went cycling. Yeah, we arrived there and then we went cycling. And I was like really excited. And we went into like the forest and we're starting to bike, and it's like it's all a little bit hard, and we're like, oh, this is hard, but it is good, and we're out in nature and we're breathing air. And then we kind of like go and go and go and go. We reach at that like top, the first kind of top, and then it's like started to go down. So I was like excited. I was like, yeah, time to roll it down the hill. But I was still cold. I wasn't like into it fully. And yeah, I went through a few rollers, and then there was this big stone, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna take it that way, and I fell basically because I was too much forward. I pressed too much on the brake, and I just like tumbled over the bike, threw the bike on one side, and then fell on my back. And then since then, I'm really hurting because it really hurt. So even in that space, it's about resiliency, right? Because we were just kind of started. We've been like cycling for 20 minutes, and it was fun, but then that really hurt, and I did need a break, and I could possibly have ended it, but we also like on a single track, and we just started. I knew as far if I was warm, that would help me to keep going. That will help me to stay with it. And yeah, it did keep hurting, but it wasn't hurting as much as it is afterwards. And again, the idea is there, the idea of resilience. That's the reason I'm sharing that story. I'm not sharing that story for sympathy or pity or for showing you like, oh yeah, look at me. It's actually that at times we can have the pain, the suffering, we can keep going. At times we can just make the decision that it is what we want to do. We want to keep going on the trail. And the trail is life. And it just depended. I could have sat there and complained all the time, or I could have just kept going. It did hurt, it did affect my breathing. But at the same time, it was like, this is fun. This is still fun. Yeah, yes, I'm hurting, but it is a beautiful environment I'm in. And I can keep going and we can reach the end. And I kept looking at the map and I was looking at the other way around. I think it's really important for us to give presence to the idea that life is not all roses. Life is not all perfect. Things do happen to us. Things do happen to those around us, to those we care and to those we don't care. And there are always like degrees and variations to the things that are happening, to the tragedies of life, and how we create those tragedies in a way that affect us, how we implement them, how we reflect towards them, how we think of them, and how we create the meaning around them, and most of all, what emotional magnitude we give to that. This is, of course, the initial reaction of how we respond to the thing that happens, and the more that we practice to be even-headed and level in our emotion, the more we can move through life, and things can happen that to other people seem terrible, but we can maintain that peace of mind, that self-centered space that we can keep moving through life. Yes, we can see its significance. Yes, we don't tuck it under the rug. And yes, we do process it, but at the same time, it doesn't create the impact that it would have created for somebody else. And I'm sure you have those situations in your life that you can see that you manage those times in a different way. And than the people around you, and other people who've been through similar or the same thing or the same exact thing haven't been able to process it in the same way. That is the power of resilience, the power of approaching, the power of creating the moments in your life that get created in your mind. What is your experience of the moment? How are you translating that? How much gravity do you put? How much of your attention do you put into that? The thing for me with that event of how it affected me in the moment and then moving forward was about the ability to stay more present. Because I noticed the kids, it was a little bit like, whoa, what's happening? But the kids really adapted very quickly. And it's like, can we move on? Because like that event wants to drag us back. And that can be any event. Any event in your life that you place significance, or any person in your life that you place significance, and they still have a say, even years later. Or your attitude and your reaction towards them has a say. Because outside might not be there, but within you, it stays within you. So life is not full of roses. We all know that. But also, like sitting down and crying about it is not going to solve anything. We know that as well. But that doesn't mean never to experience the thing that we're experiencing. We gotta give it space for it to be, and also turn the page and start writing a new page. Life is what you make of it. It is what you will make of it. It's the events that happen and then how you collect those events and what you get to create. It is like you picking up the grapes and you're creating your own wine. Different grapes will be good, different will be sweet, different will be sour, but it doesn't matter because when you put them all together, you create your own wine. In life, you get to have a choice, you get to have a say in the way that you experience things. Life is filled with shades of gray and shades of color, and it's how you get to paint and how you get to create in your own life. The different events, the highs that we're constantly looking, the highs that we're constantly being bombarded through social media, through the people that we meet, through the experiences we try to create, through advertisement and all these things of how life should be there. It should always be on a high. We all know that it's not true. We all know that that's a lie. And we also know that life at times can be dark, and those dark moments can be long or they can be short, or it can be like minute moments. But you can have small moments in your life, in your day, that affect the whole day, and it can affect you for a few days. How do these moments have such a big impact? How do they have such a big power? And most of all, how can you recover from them? How can you bounce back? Presencing yourself. Stop self-pitying yourself. Stop looking for pity from others. Having that ability to stay in the present. Try to create something new. Move forward. Don't avoid the present, but do move forward. Look for the lesson. Lessons, they get hidden and they get in disguise. And even if that's not the thing for you, the pure purpose of finding something and saying, "Oh, this is an interesting lesson," actually helps you to move forward. So even if it's just like a fantasy and something that is not needed and you can throw it away, if you really engage yourself and you really think about that sincerely, you'll find something because you're trying to create a reason for something that perhaps exists or perhaps it doesn't exist. But the fact that you start looking for that reorients your awareness towards something away from that thing that you were. And since our consciousness tries and creates this space of like one thing at a time, it will help you to move forward. It will help you to liberate yourself, to be more you, to be more present. And then from then on, the thing that really occupies your mind is like gone. You don't even need it anymore. And you also have a lesson at hand. Going back to all these like big grand events that we're looking for into life, know that life happens in the details. Life happens in all the small moments, in all the mini, tiny moments. And I've spoken about this before in the past, about the power of being present and the power of now, when I was describing my daughter and wife having a really special moment. And again, I bring it back to that. There's so many small different moments that happen during the last few days that really give so much joy to me and so much clarity and so much space. Even just like from being outdoors to being with people, to be by myself. And that's the thing. Like it was the small moments, the details, the little things that add up rather than the big splash. The big splash makes a big splash. There's a lot of emotion again. And again, if they're like highs in emotion, you also get highs in the lower emotions. And there's nothing wrong with experiencing life fully. What I'm talking about is about losing ourselves in the emotion, which is an experience in and of itself, but it's also about being in control in how we feel. For the same example, if I'm outraged, then I'm out of control. I don't have a say. And the thing that I'm trying to tell you is that you do have a say, that you do have a choice. It's not about dumbing down and numbing out yourself. It is about experiencing it, but also being centered, being in that space of you having a choice, because you do have a choice. And remembering that and having that and allow that to be present in your life and reminding yourself that you do have a choice in every situation, particularly in the ones that they're adverse, but also when things are going in there like plain sailing. It's like this has been a result of my choice, and I have a choice right now to do something else. This empowers you. Having a choice gives you the chance to be empowered. When we're not being resilient, we allow things to happen to us and then we get into the victim mode. And from that mode, it's very difficult to come out. Resiliency is about coming out from the victim mode. Again, I talk about like emotions, I talk about your experience, I talk about the lessons, but it's about you being able to navigate through life because you know that you have a choice, because there is a way for you to pivot and change, not as a result of avoiding what is going on. On the contrary, stepping onto it as if it's a step for you to climb even higher. Because if you can't deal with the little things of life that life throws us day to day, the way that life gets to train us, then we can't do the bigger things that we want to achieve, the bigger things that we want to create in our world for the people around us. Because everything just becomes too difficult. Choice has been removed. We become powerless, and you're nothing but powerless. You're a very powerful individual. Resilience can be one of those tools in your arsenal that can help you and allow you to bounce back and move forward and do more of the things that you want because you're able to handle adversity. It's about building the capacity in the way that you move through the world. Stop being stuck in the past. Whether that is your ideas about the past, your thoughts about the past, the events of the past, whatever is related to the past, there's a lot for us to learn through our past. So that doesn't mean throw it out the window, but reminiscing, having the past define our present. These are the things that get in the way. These are the things that we need to present ourselves more, being present more in the now. And the past, the way I like to work with that when I work with people is like we recreate it right now, but we're stuck. We're looking backwards. We're constantly looking backwards. And if you're looking backwards, you're gonna fall into new walls, and you're gonna miss everything. All the little moments that I mentioned, they're so easy to miss when you're so self-occupied, self-absorbed, when you're absorbed in your thoughts of your past, the way that you think you are, and all like the darkness that exists. That is being stuck in the past. It creates this filter, this veil that doesn't allow you to see life for what it is. Life has moved on already. Don't live in the shadow of the past. Live in the light of the present with the hope of the light of the future that you get to create. That's what creates resilience. If we think that the future and the present is worse than the past, or that the same past is going to happen again, there's no resilience there. There's only doom and gloom. Learning to find the light of the present moment and seeing the light and the horizon coming up, because it is there if you're willing to look. You have to be willing to look. And also the stuff you're carrying with you, some of it you can let go. But the more you're attracted to that light, the more you follow the sunrise, the more light there's going to be in your life. And the lighter you will be and the more present you will be in the way that you walk through life. A quick announcement. I've been working behind the scenes for the past few months around a course called Finding Stillness. Finding Stillness is about helping you to create that space in your life, to create deeper connection, primarily with yourself, but then as a result with the people around you. It has to do with cultivating more self love, more understanding, more acceptance towards yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. Finding stillness is something that I personally find it very important and crucial. If you're interested, go to my website, insidetreasures.com, and look for the course Finding Stillness. Finding stillness is about pressing pause in life, about you finding the time and the space and cultivating that and create that in order for you to experience a moment of bliss which you get to create, a moment of space, a moment for you where you can sit back and actually see your life for what it is. It's about presencing yourself in what is going on every single day, in every single moment. That doesn't mean this is what you will do, because in a way that can also sound tedious. But it's about improving the quality of your life by presencing yourself more and more and more. And there's so much abundance of gifts that comes as a result of you being able to do that. So if you're interested, go to insidetreasures.com, look for Finding Stillness, and I will see you at the course. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in to another episode from Inside Treasures. If you find this episode useful, if you find it a way that intrigued your thoughts, a way that it created for you something different, a different way of seeing the world, and you would like to share this and give this to other people, and share this episode and help me spread the word. Thank you, my friend, for tuning in to another episode from Inside Treasures. My name is Phoebus, and until next time, my friend, let peace guide your life, let love guide your heart, and reason guide your thoughts. Keep shining.